Hey guys, it is Spooky Noodles, and I am here with a video about 5 authors I would love to try soon. I saw this on someone's channel. I can't remember whose channel. A Spice Reads Books. That's where I saw it from, and I thought I'd do it because there's some authors that I really want to try, and yeah. So I'm gonna do something different, and I'm gonna play the intro, and then you guys can see what I have to say, because I have to go get the books anyways. So, yep. Okay, I am back, and I have the books here that I want to show you about 5 authors that I want to try. I hear great things about these authors. I've either read some short stories by them or I just heard about them. And to be honest, I've only really read one short story by one of these authors. So yeah, we'll just hop right into it. And that is Brian Evanson. And he wrote this book, Immobility, which cool premise. I'm not sure how much you can do with it, but he was able to write a full book about it. So let's see how many pages this sucker is. Very well put together book, it looks like. 253 pages about a guy who's disabled and is carried to some location where he's told that he has to do something. I'm not really sure what it's about, but I read his story, Brian Evanson's story, in an anthology called The New Flesh. The New Flesh. And I adored that story, and I was like, I need to get more work by him. And then I got him mixed up with John Everson, which is not a bad author at all, but I never read anything of his work, so I don't know if he is really good or not, although I've heard that John Everson is pretty good. But Brian Evanson is someone I really want to try soon, and yeah, he sounds really good. He's got a lot of blurbs on the back here, one by Peter Straub, so that's a pretty big one. But let me read to you what this book is about. Well, I already told you what it's about, so you already get the gist. So that's Immobility by Brian Evanson. I want to read this fairly soon. Let me put it back where I had it before. Yep. And now next we have another author I really want to check out. I mean, all these authors I want to check out. So hopefully this year. And this one is Joe R. Lansdale. Savage Season being the one I really want to read, because it starts to happen Leonard series. And I'm not really big into series, but I think this might be one that I can actually get in my fangs into. My fangs. So, and I also own another book by Joe R. Lansdale that I want to read called The Bottoms. Savage Season is about this girl comes back into Hap's life and says that there's like $1 million in the water, but you gotta find it. And him and his friend go looking for it, and it's their journey to get to that money. That's what this one's about. This one, I will read the back to you. Well, it's like in the same vein as Harper Lee's book. What was Harper Lee's book called? To Kill a Mockingbird. Basically, some kids happen upon a dead black corpse, and or a corpse of a black woman, and she was savagely mutilated, but the town doesn't really care until a white woman is mutilated. Then the town cares and claims that it was a black man who might be innocent, but the two kids have to figure it out before it's too late. It's a coming-of-age story I hear that I really want to read. Joe R. Lansdale, I hear, is fantastic with his writing, so I'm going to give that one a read relatively soon. And this is an author I really want to read, because I hear great things about Joe R. Lansdale. Alright. Now we're reaching new heights. Not new heights per se, but a book I really want to read. And both of these books are books I want to read, but this author in particular, because I've heard this author's a lot like Wrath James White. So that makes me really excited, because I just read a Wrath James White book that I really liked, which was Skins. And I'm definitely checking out more Wrath James White when I get a chance and I get some money. But Edward Lee is what we're talking about. and this is The Black Train. I also have another book here. I have a bunch of books by Edward Lee, but I only picked these 2 books out because there's on top of my list for Edward Lee books I want to read. This one is about a bed and breakfast, or historic bed and breakfast that is haunted by a ghost train, I'm guessing. I'm not really sure. I hear this is about racism for the Chinese people who were, or is it Chinese people? I really can't remember. I should just read the back for you guys so I don't screw it up. Welcome to the Ghast House. Oh, by the way, this was released in another title called The Ghast. And in that one, it has more gore in it, I hear, than this one. So I might want to get The Ghast as well. Or maybe it's just Ghast. I'm not really sure. All I know is that one is I don't know, unfiltered version. I can't think of the word I want to use, but supposedly it has more gore than this one. This one is the clean version, if you will. Let me read the back for you guys. A historic bed and breakfast, or a monument of evil and obscenity. Justin Coiler didn't know the house's lurid, shocking history when he arrived for a relaxing stay. He knew nothing about the train tracks that run behind the house, or that they once led to a place worse than hell. But he's learning. At night he can hear the mansion whisper. He hears little girls giggling where there are no little girls. And if he listens closely, he can hear the haunting whistle of the train and the cries of the things chained in its prison cars. Each room of the house holds another appalling secret, but the greatest secret of all rides the Black Train. So that's Edward Lee's The Black Train. Want to give this a read very badly, but what I'm really going to read first before I read that, my first work of Edward Lee's, is going to be Header. I don't know if my stomach's going to be able to handle this book, because everyone keeps hyping this book up to be very gross. It's 85 pages long, so it's going to be a quick read. But yeah, Edward Lee is definitely a reader, or not a reader, an author I want to read. So what's the Header about? Well, I don't know. I'm not going to read the back because it's a short book. But yeah. Next, we have another author I want to try, and that's Jeff Strand. I hear so many good things about Jeff Strand. Unfortunately, this is the only book I own by Jeff Strand, and that's Pressure by Jeff Strand. I heard great things about this. I've talked about this enough in my TBR video, or not TBR video, but reading vlog. But you get a sense this is about like the older version of The Voice of the Night. When I say older version, I mean the kids are grown up, but they're still, like, one's crazy and the other one's not. So that's the vibe I get from this book. I haven't read it yet. I'm looking forward to reading it, though, because I hear great things about it. And I'm probably not going to read this forward. I'm probably just going to skip to part 1. Or no, there's a prologue. Never mind. I'm going to probably read the prologue first. There, put the bookmark there. So yeah, this sucker is big for a book, you know. Let's see here. It is 323 pages, so it's not that big, but it's still pretty big for me. And I'm looking forward to reading some Jeff Strand because I hear great things. I also want to read Dweller by Jeff Strand. I think that's who it is by. And I want to read that too because it's a coming-of-age story as well, and I hear great things about Dweller. I haven't really heard anything about Pressure other than my one friend says it's amazing, so... Excuse me. And then the last author I want to start reading is James Newman. And I have here Midnight Rain. I also have In the Scrape, which is James Newman and Mark Steensland. I'm not sure if Mark Steensland had the idea and James Newman just came up with wrote the story. I don't know if they went back and forth like pen buddies and wrote the story together. I don't know how this book this In the Scrape came to be. But this one is a standalone, Midnight Rain, which is a coming-of-age story. Let me read the back for you guys. If you haven't noticed, a lot of these are coming-of-age stories, except for Edward Lee. If Edward Lee had a coming-of-age story, I'd definitely read it. I don't know if he does or not. Maybe Golem. I don't know. I don't think he has any coming-of-age stories. But here is James Newman's Midnight Rain. Like most 12-year-old boys, Kyle Mackey has a secret place where he goes to be alone. In Kyle's case, it's a rundown shack deep in the woods outside his small town in Midnight, North Carolina. But Kyle's private spot will never seem the same to him again. Not after tonight, not after he looks in through one of the shack's dusty windows and sees a naked girl lying there, broken and bleeding. The girl has been brutally beaten, but she's still clinging on to life. What Kyle sees next, though, is the worst part, the part that will haunt him for the rest of his life. Soon he will be the only witness to an unspeakable murder. There's no one he can trust, no one he can turn to see that justice is done. But the murderer isn't finished, and the only hope of stopping him is in the hands of a small, frightened boy. So that's James Newman, Midnight Rain. Sorry. I'm looking forward to reading this. It sounds like a very frustrating read. Like, I don't really like when the main character keeps talking. I do like it. It's just a pet peeve of mine when it happens. But I think I enjoy it as much as I hate it. And that's when sorry, is that a dollar bill? No, it's not a dollar. Sorry. Thought there was just a dollar bill right in front of me. I was like, what? It sounds like a frustrating read because the kid's probably not gonna, like, he's gonna tell everybody and no one's gonna listen to him. So one of those type of stories where you know he's right, but no one will listen to him because he's just a kid, and that can be annoying, especially if it's a whole book is like that. Fear had a scene that was like where the kid was explaining to the officer that something bad was happening, and then the officer like started driving to go to where he was talking about, and then the officer got mad and just threw him out of the car and said there's nobody, getting eaten by a monster. And that was okay because it wasn't too much. So I hope this book is like that, where it just briefly, shows that the kid isn't being listened to, and it's not like the whole book where you're just banging your head against a wall like, oh my gosh, come on, dude. And that's a coming-of-age story by James Newman. And then this is another coming-of-age story with James Newman and with Mark Steensland. This one is about two kids who tie up their dad to a chair and run away, while a cop or an officer, whatever, I don't know the difference really, while an officer and a bully's father, I think it is, are chasing after them. So yeah, sounds like a good read. It's another coming-of-age story. James Newman, I hear great things about. I've never heard anything about Mark Steensland. Yeah, I'm just very excited because I hear great things about James Newman. And yeah. So those are 5 authors I'd like to try. James Newman, Jeff Strand, Edward Lee, Joe R. Lansdale, and Brian Evanson. So those are the 5 authors I really want to try soon. They're amazing authors, I hear. They just sound very interesting. I also have some science fiction authors I want to try, like Isaac Asimov, Frank Herbert. I have Orson Scott Card, and the list goes on. I have a bunch of science fiction books that I want to try. But this is just a horror list of 5 authors I want to try. I think that's 5 authors: James Newman, Jeff Strand, Edward Lee, Joe R. Lansdale, Brian Evanson. Yeah, that's 5. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Very quick video, I guess. It is 14 minutes long, but it's a very quick video regardless, because I can go on and on forever about talking about authors. Like, I have a bunch of more authors that I want to read, like Douglas Clegg. I could go on forever, to be honest. Just a bunch of authors I have. These are just authors I haven't read yet that I want to read. Like Stephen King isn't on this list because I have read Stephen King. You get it? So yeah. But Joe R. Lansdale has 2 books I want to try. Edward Lee has 2 books. Jeff Strand has 1 right now that I own. James Newman has 2, and Brian Evanson has just the 1 because I don't know of anything else that he has written other than Immobility. So he's a fairly new writer, I think. I'm not sure though. I could be wrong. But yeah, tell me what you think about my my list of authors I want to try. I know some people will tell me to steer clear of certain books, but I think I'm going to read them regardless of what people say. Like, someone may be like, oh, Joe R. Lansdale, that Bottoms book is too racist or something like that, but I have to figure that out for myself. Or people say Header is too gruesome. So, but that's just something I want to figure out for myself. I also have like books, but I'll do a list for like low-key authors that I want to try that aren't heard of really, that don't get as much attention as they deserve, but I don't know if they deserve the attention or not because I haven't read them yet. So I don't know if I should do that list or not. Yeah, these were 5 authors that I wanna start reading soon, because I hear the great things about them. So I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you have a spooky night. I'll catch you in the next video. All right, guys. Bye, guys.
Now I am become death, the destroyer